Hey everyone, Steve here from My Crypto World. Welcome back to this week's episode. Today we're going to look at the market cap and try to discover why we're seeing some slowing down of the current market. At the moment it seems to be going a little bit sideways, so we'll have a look at that. Also cover off two stories today, one for Cardano holders and the other one for Zilliqa. All that after this. Okay, so to kick things off, let's have a look at the total market cap for those that are viewing this for the first time. What I generally do is have a look at the total market cap. So this does not reflect any one in particular coin, although it is closely correlated to the movement of Bitcoin because it's such a large proportion of the market. But I like to have a better look at the whole market by combining all the coins together, which is called the total market cap, to see where things are at. Now, if you've gone back, if you remember in my last video, I said that what we need to see before we know that we're in the clear is that we want to see the market grow, but it would have a lot of resistance at all the previous highs that have happened in the past. And as you can see, I'm just pointing those out on the screen in front of you. So when we spoke last time, which was just over 7 days ago, the market was just under 1.866 trillion. It has since moved up very nicely. We broke past the previous high. We've then since broken past the high before that. And right now we're sitting around about the high of the third high prior to where we are now. And just remember, I did mention that there would be certain ceilings that we would hit, resistance levels the market will naturally hit and move sideways on, or possibly bounce down from. So that's where we are at the moment. As you can tell, for the past probably, that's about 7 days, the market's pretty much gone sideways. Now, when you're looking at support and resistance levels in the market, while you can predict and think you might know which ones will be might stop the market more than others, so to speak, you never actually really know until it happens. So if we have a look at where we are in the market at the moment, we can see we're sitting at $2.11 trillion at the moment. Way back here, all the way back in January, we hit that mark and we bounced down from it. So there was a slight bit of resistance there for that. But if we go back even further, so if we go back to around about August, between August and September of 2021, we can see that we had this incredibly big sideways movement. Now the market moved up a little bit, it moved down a little bit, but ultimately at the $2.11 trillion mark, it pretty much traveled sideways. And then if we scroll back even further, we can see something similar happened all the way back in April 2021 and again in May 2021. So this is a resistance level that this stock, or the total market cap, has had trouble breaking away from for quite a number of times now. So even though there's not one major high over here at all, it's not an actual ceiling, it did break through it. It also had a sideways movement as well. So that also indicates some type of resistance. While it might not be defined by a peak or a trough, a sideways movements can also unpack the same sort of data. So where to from here? Well, really, you've just got to wait and see where the market goes. We're nearly up to our, let me just find where we're going to end. So we've got a couple of days left, maybe 3 or 4 days left before this cycle ends. I suspect it'll either stay where it is or just come down slightly before the new cycle kicks in, the new 30-day cycle that will hopefully see the market bounce up from where it is at the moment. But as with everything, time will tell. I don't know whether the market will drop. I don't feel that the market will drop down to the $1.75 trillion mark again, to be honest with you. It may find some resistance here and falter and come back down to the 1.866 trillion. But with the sideways movement that's happened of recent, I think it'll just do that, just be a sideways movement before it moves back on. Again, not financial advice at all. It's just the way I read the market with all the indicators that I use in this space at the moment. But we've still got a fair way to travel. Again, even if we get through this period here where we are, our next resistance level is up at the 2.48 trillion. After that, we have another resistance level at around about the 2.7 trillion before we hit the all-time high of just over $3 trillion. So we'll see where that goes. It may take several months for this to transpire, possibly even in a whole year before we can see the all-time high being broken, but it is a waiting game sometimes. Now let's go and have a look at some of the news stories for the day. The first one I wanted to cover off, actually there's three. I'll just shuffle these around a little bit. There are three stories at the moment for Cardano that I wanted to cover off. The first one is the CME Group sees a strong demand for Cardano and Solana as futures as markets take a giant leap. Now, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, or CME, is considering launching Solana and Cardano futures days after announcing micro-sized Bitcoin and Ether options. Speaking during the Crypto Compared Digital Asset Summit on Wednesday, Payal Shah, the Director of Equity and Cryptocurrency Products at CME, stated they were looking at beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum, owning to increase demand from clients and could soon add Solana and Cardano futures to the exchange. We're looking at it, she said, adding that the number of client requests in anything outside the top two, so the top two being Bitcoin and Ethereum, has grown enormously. So there's a lot of interest in the marketplace out there for a futures market for the digital currency realm. First, she noted that Bitcoin and Ethereum futures were settled on by an index. By this, CME had to contract 5 crypto exchanges that simultaneously shared real-time price quotes to enable the firm to settle on a precise price for Bitcoin and Ethereum futures. She thus stated that they need to build a similar index for other cryptocurrencies. So at the moment, the top two, Ethereum and Bitcoin, are being monitored by indexes where the other realms are not. So any of the alternate coins aren't really in that position at the moment. So, you know, it's just an interesting story to see where the market may be headed. I suspect there's going to be quite a bit of work to do on the background before this can actually take place, but it's still interesting reading. Now, just on Cardano, there are a couple of other news stories that came out this week. The first one, Cardano smart-based contracts surpassed 2,000 mark for the first time ever. Now, the article goes on to say that notably the number of Plutus scripts, now we spoke about that in a previous video, increased by 489 between March the 28th and March the 30th, where they stood at 1,671 and 2,160 respectively, indicating that the number of smart contracts on the Cardano just exceeded the 2,000 mark, according to the stats from Cardano Blockchain Insights. And if you have a look at the Plutus scripts graph here, you can see how dramatically it absolutely just shot off through the roof. So, you know, on March the 26th, you sort of got a stagnant line there, a little bit of a rise between March the 2nd, and we'll call that March the 27th or 28th, before it just absolutely skyrocketed through and went ballistic. The graph displays that real world Plutus smart contracts that are now in operation on the Cardano blockchain. When the Alzano upgrade was applied as part of the hard fork event on the September the 12th, that was back in 2021, these smart contracts went live on the blockchain. So that's good news. It just shows you that Cardano is being adopted at a pretty astonishing rate, according to this graph here, although it took them a while to get there. So we'll just have to wait and see what the future holds for Cardano. I don't think there was anything more in that story I wanted to cover. And finally, which I think is an amazing thing and a great article about Cardano, 30 million ADA tokens redistributed as Cardano-based NFT marketplace reaches a new milestone. The article goes on to say that Cardano-powered NFT marketplace NFT Maker reached an important milestone of 900,000 minutes and 30 million ADA redistributed among its creators on the platform. Such a large redistribution of funds among the creators was available thanks to the growing popularity of the Cardano network in general. So just reading into that first paragraph there, for those that don't know, when you actually start a project, a lot of people work for free. You get stock or crypto in this case, that gets released to you if you meet certain milestones. Some of these people may not even be working on a salary. They're just basically working as hard as they can, because money can be very tight to begin with, but their reward is shares, or in this case, ADA tokens. So to see that 30 million of them were redistributed to ADA creators, that's a positive news for us as holders of the coin, because it means they're reaching their targets that they've set up in place, their KPIs that they've set in place for certain goals to happen within the blockchain itself. So really, really positive. The announcement suggests over 900,000 NFT projects were minted on the NFT Maker platform. Such an increase in volume of minted pieces and of non-fungible art and projects is tied both to the growth of the Cardano network and the returning popularity of the NFT industry. And just down the bottom here, it also goes on to say that the growth of the network also reflects on the price of the underlying asset, ADA. The coin gained over 50% since March's bottom, showing the fundamental growth of the network. Besides a price increase, the total value of locked funds in ADA smart contracts exceeded 300 million. So it's a pretty good project all round. Now, if we just go and have a look at, I always say verify the data that you read. Always double check what a journalist or somebody of note is saying about a particular project or the market in general. That also goes for you guys with what I'm saying. But I always go and check that just to double, just to see what they're saying. So here they're saying that, what did they say? Cardano has gone up, I think it was somewhere over 50%. Yep, 50% since March's bottom. So let's bring up a chart and have a look at it. Let's go to ADA. So we'll say that's probably, or is that the bottom there? No, that's February. So let's go from the bottom here, mid-March, and let's measure that and see where, if we did actually achieve over a 50% growth. So the bottom to the high, yep, 59.07% growth in the last month, roughly. So the article is pretty spot on with that, which is good to see. So positive news for all holders of Cardano. Finally, I did cover off quite a large video last time discussing Zilliqa and the Metaverse launch that they're doing and how we've seen over the last couple of weeks. Let's go back to Zilliqa while we're on the topic. How Zilliqa has just basically shot through the roof. It's hit some resistance at 23 cents. It's now at around about just above the 15-cent mark. You can see here, if we drew a horizontal line on it, let me find my horizontal line. This is where the market hit. And although it's not at the all-time high, there is a lot of distribution going on here. So it doesn't surprise me that it came into some resistance. But let's just go on to the article and see what it's talking about. Metaverse by Zilliqa can push Zilliqa's price up to $1.56. So today in the crypto market space, now this article is incredibly interesting for me, and I'll bring up why it was interesting because it was something I hadn't thought of before. Today in the crypto market space, there is Decentraland, Sandbox, and Axie Infinity, who are the main metaverse players with NFT interaction and marketplaces. And for those three coins there, we've spoken about them in other videos. They're all part of the portfolio that I suggest we hold. And again, it's not financial advice, it's simply what I'm doing in the marketplace. So additionally, there are numerous new startup companies aiming and doing the same. Now, what's the difference between Metaverse and the remaining market? See it from this perspective. Mana, Sand, and Axie have already are usable and commercially available products for worldwide audience, which makes them early leaders of the metaverse. However, think about this: Zilliqa has not even launched on the metaverse yet, and its market cap is already over $2 billion. So when you think about that, that's actually quite incredible. It outshines every other project in the marketplace, and they haven't even actually officially launched the metaverse into the metaverse yet, although they are talking about it. And in my last video, I spoke about that, how that was going to happen this year in Q2. The other thing that I hadn't really thought about before was the way Zilliqa is built. So Zilliqa is on a layer 1 platform. So this is really important, and the article goes on to talk about that. Metaverse is built on Zilliqa's layer 1 blockchain, which enables multi-chain interactions. So if you imagine you've got an NFT from Ethereum or Solana or any other network for that matter, yet you can't ever interact directly with each other. But in Metaverse you can, because of layer 1 allows multi-chain network interactions. So not many companies that have made it to happen, and layer 1 is something extremely difficult to make. So no wonder Zilliqa took 2 years' time in developing just for layer 1, while being low in their marketing activities. Zilliqa's price or average price for 2023 is estimated to be at least $1.56 based on current technical analysis and competitor success rate analysis. If Zilliqa would be able to pull even 30% of success accomplishments like its competition, the price would easily reach between $1.25 and $1.56 before Q3 2023. So pretty powerful article. I had completely forgotten about the fact that Zilliqa is a layer 1 blockchain. So it just enables a lot more flexibility for those who are going to use it and jump between other blockchains. Whereas, look, as good as Mana and Sandbox and Axie Infinity are, they don't have that capability. And I still hold, that's not a drag on the other coins at all. I still hold them in my portfolio. I think they're going to do extremely well. But it just shows you that Zilliqa have really thought this through carefully. And while, you know, people jump up and down and say, well, they haven't done much for the last 12 months and things have been quiet, when you understand and get a story like this, it gives you maybe a bit of an explanation to what they've been doing for the last 12 to 18 months. It really makes you jump up and take notice, and hence the large market surge that happened in the last 7 to 14 days recently. So, which is really good for Zilliqa holders. I suspect that this will continue to go up quite nicely, but again, you never know where it's going to find its lows. People at the moment will be taking profits from that. That's why the market has dipped a bit. There is no doubt about it. Holders of Zilliqa at 5 cents, to see it go all the way to 23 cents. A lot of people will be saying, I'm going to take some profit, or I'm going to pull out of the project altogether and look to put my money elsewhere. That happens. At the moment, this is an incredibly strong buying opportunity if you haven't got Zilliqa at the moment, because it's come back down to 15 cents. So you may consider, again, not financial advice, just my financial opinion. It's certainly what I might be looking at doing as far as dollar cost averaging goes. Well, that's it for today's video. Thanks again for tuning in. If you could hit like and subscribe, it would really help this channel. Really what it does is it shows the Google spiders that this content is valid, and you think it's got meaning behind it, so therefore it gets ranked in the Google engine. The YouTube engine probably. That's it for now. Take care of yourself and each other, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.